All right, and good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Wrestletalk. My name's Ralph Williams. We're here every Tuesday, 5 to 6 p.m., and we're waiting for our guest, JAMESON, to come on. He is a local independent wrestler. He's going to join us, and at 5:30, we're going to be joined by Daniel POLINSKY, who is the father of Corey Graves, and we had the privilege Saturday, Smokin Jim Frazier, my co-host. Smokin Jim, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Ralph.
All right. Smokin Jim, we had a great time Saturday. We got to see Sam Adonis for the first time. It was a great show. I thought the pros put on an excellent performance for us all on Saturday in Monroeville. Your thoughts?
Yeah, man, great time. Got to see one of my favorite all-time local wrestlers out of Ambridge, PA, Ray Lynn. Her and that other lady put on a great show, and then they took pictures with all their fans.
Oh yeah. It's, you know what, independent wrestling now is becoming more popular because, as I said at the event, that I believe that people now like these independent events because what happens is it's a more personable thing, and so all right, Keystone State Wrestling Alliance is going to be having their wrestling program coming up Saturday, October 19th, 6 p.m. at the Langley American Legion in Sheridan, 2863 Chartiers Avenue. For tickets, you can call 412-726-1762 or 412-913-8493. Front row seats and stage seats are $20, $15 general admission. Smokin Jim and I will be there at this show this week. And also the Pros of Wrestling. This is an old ad, but they will be November 16th at the Tesla Center in Butler, right on Route 8, the old Days Inn. They're going to be there November 16th for an event, and we're still waiting for JAMESON here. Let me see here if I got an email from him or not there, Smokin Jim, before we move forward here. I haven't received anything, so I'm assuming he is on his way on the air here. I'm waiting for him to come on. All right, but until he joins us, Smokin Jim, let's get into some stuff. The last night's Raw. Your thoughts on last night's Raw? Did you see it? What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I watched it, man, and it was outstanding. I'm still trying to get used to the 2 hours, but it was outstanding.
Yeah, I thought it was a good program. The interesting was the main event with Rhea Ripley and your Tiffy time girlfriend there, Tiffany Stratton. And, I didn't see the whole match because I was, I forgot I was doing something and I didn't see the entire match, but I do know, I heard the ending was pretty interesting, but, we'll see from there. The tag team tournament kind of interests me a little bit there. I was surprised to see the Alpha Academy in that tournament at all. They haven't done anything, and I was kind of surprised they were even involved in that tournament. And also, it was interesting to see the Cody Rhodes and the face-to-face with Gunther. I knew Gunther was going to come up with some kind of wise remark. He always does, and I thought it was pretty interesting there as well. Your thoughts on that face-to-face?
Yeah, hey, I'm liking Gunther more and more. I know that you and Bubba always like Gunther, but I tell you what, man, he's really starting to win me over.
Well, I don't like Gunther. I respect Gunther. I respect him for his wrestling ability. I respect for the way he carried the Intercontinental title. He basically was just a fixture for the WWE with that title. He held it for a long time. And, so I think it was just a great thing that he had that title. And it's good that he has the championship right now. I think he's going to carry it for a little while until we see Seth Rollins get back into the fray, or CM Punk or somebody. I don't even know if those guys could even strip him of that title. But we'll find out what happens. You never know. Bronson Reed might get involved. You never know. I'd like to see that match, Gunther versus Bronson Reed. That would be an interesting match as well. Or, well, I'm interested to see what Seth Rollins is going to do, because there is going to be a match between the two of them coming up soon, but we're going to find out where and when. But what's your thoughts on the New Day and this breakup and this animosity a little bit? You think it's time for them to go their separate ways? You think the New Day's been kind of old?
No, I think they got to stick together. They would be terrible as individuals.
Right. Yeah, I think it would be terrible as individuals right now. It's at the tail end of their careers, sticking together. I'd like to see them win another tag team title. That would be interesting to see if they could do that. Now we'll find out what the New Day does moving forward. And now that, well, Big E's still part of it, he just doesn't wrestle. So, but I was hoping soon. I was praying that Big E would get back into the thing, but he hasn't got back into it at all. So I'm not. I mean, I guess his health or his injuries have caused him not to get back into it. I'm not sure, but we'll see what happens with it, and we'll go from there and see what's going on here. Let me see here. All right, I'm emailing Jamie here, see what's going on with him. But we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios. You ought to call Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-201-0500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. You ought to call Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. They are our studio sponsors. And as you well know, we like to promote the events that are going on and coming up this week, or on the 26th. At the Coliseum in Lewistown, Pennsylvania. It's called The Haunting at the Coliseum. You'll see Matt Silks involved in that. We've had him on the program here as well. He's involved in that as well. And don't forget Wrestle Rex coming up this Friday. Sam Adonis, Daniel Polinsky's son and brother of Corey Graves, will be wrestling against Magno this Friday at the City Winery Smokin' Gym. I was working on trying to get us something with that. I have to make a phone call to the City Winery and find out what's going on there. I'm not sure if I'm going to be there Friday for this one in the strip there at the City Winery, but the Friday, October 18th, all ages show. It's at the City Winery. Sam Adonis versus Magno is the main event. That's going to be an interesting matchup right there as well. Magno is a really good independent wrestler as well. And we cannot forget our good friend Bubba Brewer and the Allied Powers Wrestling as well on the 26th of October at the Nightmare at the Castle in Johnstown. Big event. Big Bill Collier will be there and several others. It's going to be a great match, great entertainment there as well. And also they're going to have some women's matches, and it's going to be a really good wrestling event. Check it out. And if you need to get tickets, here, if I can see this properly here, Smokin' Jim, I'm going to try to blow this up. Here we go. 724-840-3828, I believe it is. Call and get, or go into AlliedPowersWrestling.com, www.apwfwrestling.com for tickets. Tickets are still available October 26th for the Nightmare at the Castle with Bubba Brewer and his group as well. And please don't forget about Wrestletalk every Tuesday here, 5 to 6 p.m. Coming up at 5:30, we have Daniel Polinsky will join us from the Pros of Wrestling. We were just at one of his shows, Smokin' Jim and I, this past Saturday. And there's other events coming up as well that we're going to be promoting here on the show as well. All right, Smokin' Jim. Let's talk a little bit about here until Jamie comes back on or whatever. More about the WWE and the Raw last night, which I actually thought wasn't a bad show. I actually thought it was pretty decent there. But what's your thoughts coming up on this pay-per-view, the Crown Jewel? So far, the match card is pretty much looking like this a little bit, and we can talk about that right now here. Gunther versus Cody Rhodes. Nia Jax versus Liv Morgan. Now, I'm hearing this match as a possibility. It hasn't been confirmed. Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. And then also we have Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker versus Kofi Kingston in a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Belt. And also Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez, and possibly another Damian Priest Finn Balor match. Your thoughts on this Smokin' Jim, on this card?
Well, this one's going to be in Saudi Arabia, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
it'll
they're
be
having.
interesting. It'd be interesting to see how the women dress. You know, they're not allowed to dress sexy over there. They got to be somewhat covered up. So
Yeah,
that's a disadvantage for me. But yeah, I think that I don't know. Cody Rhodes is pretty popular, but I think that Gunther can take him out.
Yeah, I think Cody Rhodes. This might be the match Cody Rhodes loses. I think because like you said, you know, Gunther's a tough hombre. He's hard to beat. You know, he's gone the distance with a few guys. And okay, hold on. Okay, all right. He's going to be joined. Jamie Jameson just emailed me, said he'll be joining us shortly. So he just got back from somewhere, and he'll be joining us in a few moments.
Hey Ralph, did you see Tippy Time almost
I missed
cashed
it.
in?
I missed it because like I said, I didn't catch hardly any of that match. I forget I was doing something and I had to and I didn't see hardly any of that match actually. But I do know Tiffy did try to cash in again.
Yeah,
you know.
Liv was laid out, man, and now I told her to go ahead and cash in, and she went to cash in, but Dom pulled her out of the ring, man.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Wouldn't that have been interesting now? Because then you would have Tiffany going up, or Tiffany Stratton going up against Nia Jax because it's for that crown jewel title that Triple H created. I don't know if you know this. He created a crown jewel men's title and a crown jewel women's title. So both title holders are fighting each other on both ends, and whoever wins is the crown jewel champ, and they get to hold the belt until next year. So, you know, or whoever the champ is, they'll be the crown jewel champ.
Now, do they still keep their individual belts?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not unifying the belts anytime soon, I don't think. I think the way they're doing things right now, I hope they don't do that again, Smokin' Jim. They unified the belts before, and it was crazy. I just got word from Jamie Jameson. Will be joining us shortly, local independent wrestler. We're going to talk to him about his career, what's going on in independent wrestling, some events he's involved in. That's coming up as well. But your thoughts on this card? Your thoughts on Jimmy Uso? Do you think he can recruit Jay to help him and Roman Reigns out, or you think it's a waste?
I don't think it'll happen. No time soon. I know Jimmy talked to Jay, and Jay says, "No, get out of my face."
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So I think that Jimmy will go after Jay before Jay helps him and Roman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think Jay is right now, as you know, he's the Intercontinental Champion. We'll see if Braun Breaker gets it back next week. But you know, right now he's carrying the title, and I don't think he's going to give up that title to go help out Roman Reigns. I don't believe it. I think he wants to do his own thing, and I don't blame him. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, and he's been screwed over by his own brother, and he's been screwed over by Roman. So I don't think he's going to get involved. Jimmy's going to have to go in another direction. You know what I mean?
And Jay screwed some people over the years. He's popular now, but he's screwed a lot of people over too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They both have. So I mean, you know, it's been one of those. It's been one of these times now. We're gonna find out what happens in the Civil War coming up on Survivor Series. But we got Crown Jewel coming up next on November 2nd. All right. Smokin' Jim, your thoughts. Give me a final synopsis on this card. What do you think about this proposed card for Crown Jewel?
I like it. You know, anything over in Saudi Arabia, those guys do a great job, man. You know, they just, like I said, they even coming up with the help of the WWE with the Crown Jewel. I thought that was a great idea. It's probably going to be a fabulous belt, especially if the Saudis had anything to do with it, man. So they're starting to take over, big time sports, man, and making it more competitive and exciting. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's pay a couple bills here, Smoking Jim. Alex's Flowers, call him today, 412-661-6071. Alex's Flowers. Also alexsflowers.com if you need flowers for a wedding, anniversary, any kind of or a funeral. I know some, funerals can be hard, but Alex will help you take care of your flower arrangements. Been in the business for 30 years, Pitt graduate. Get a hold of Alex today, 412-661-6071, alexsflowers.com. Tell them you heard it here on Wrestletalk and on the RW Media Radio Productions as well. Also, don't forget about our radio show, Smokin' Jim, Sports Corner Radio Show. We're back and better than ever with me, Ralph Williams, Smokin' Jim Frazier, the Hall of Famer Claudia Rosano, and Steel City Sports World's own Luther Dupree. And I love the debates you and Luther have, Smoking Jim. It's so funny I just, you know what I mean? It makes my day to do this show every single Thursday. It really
Thank
does.
you, sir.
Yeah, it does. It makes my day. I mean, it really does. And it's great to be back on the radio, and it's great that you're back on with me, and it's great that we have Luther and Claudio added to it. And don't forget
I can't wait for the Ralph Williams show. That's what I'm waiting on.
Oh yeah, you know it, man. Here it is, 8 to 9 a.m. Saturday, starting Saturday, November 9th, the Ralph Williams show. I'm working on getting Sam DeMarco on from the Republican Party and County Council. Big scuttlebutt over this property tax assessment thing that's going on. Huge talk around Allegheny County. People possibly moving out. People can't pay for it. And if you're a homeowner, I suggest you get hold of your county councilman, burn up his phone, tell him, you'll vote him out if they have to pay high prices. All right, Smoking Jim. Our guest has arrived, Jamie Jameson, local professional independent wrestler. Jamie, welcome to the program. It's great to have you.
How you doing, Ralph?
I'm doing good. I'm sure your weekend was busy this Saturday. Tell us a little bit about the event you were at this week or this past Saturday.
Which event was I at this weekend?
Were you down at Southside?
Nah, I'll be at Southside on Thursday.
Thursday for the at the Enclave Theater. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah, the Enclave event. Yeah, that's this Thursday down on the South Side. If you want to go see Jamie wrestle and several others. Smoking Jim, say hello to Jamie.
Hey, champ, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
How you doing, brother?
All right, we had ourselves a great time. We were at the Pros of Wrestling event on Saturday out in Monroeville. We had ourselves a great time. Jamie, tell us how you got started in wrestling.
How I got started as a pro, or how I got started
as a whole. What brought you into getting started in wrestling, Jamie? I ask this question to everybody.
So I had a really, really close friend that I went to church with. His name was Dominic, and we used to hang out all the time after church and stuff like that. And the one night I asked if he could spend the night, and he always couldn't stay the night, and he finally got permission to stay the night on a Friday night. And he said, just as long as I'm able to watch Friday Night SmackDown. And I was like, I had no idea what it was. So I was like, so what's Friday Night SmackDown? And he said, it's wrestling. You never heard of wrestling? And I was like, no, haven't heard nothing about this. And I was like, but if you're coming, I'll watch it with you. And so he came over. It was like, I think 2006 or 2007. I think 2007. And I remember watching Friday Night SmackDown for the first time. And I remember the main event. It was The Undertaker and Batista tagging up, I think, against Finlay and MVP.
Oh yeah, there you go. That was a good tag team match there. There you go.
Yeah, dude, so off the wall, but it's because Taker and Batista were in mid of their rivalry. And I seen The Undertaker for the first time, and dude, the second I seen The Undertaker, I was like, I have to be like this guy. This guy's awesome.
Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, Jamie. I used to drive a cab. And
Okay.
when I was driving yellow cab. I was coming in from the airport, and I get a call to go to the airport Marriott. And I pull up, and here comes Paul Bear, Henry Godwin, and The Undertaker.
No
And they
shit.
all got in the cab. Here, they were on their way. They were driving, and they were on their way to Pittsburgh for the event going on down at the old Mellon Arena or Civic
Yeah.
Arena, whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it. And they were on their way I took them down to the arena. Their car hit a deer out in Moon. So what happened
Oh.
was they walked all the way from where the old airport terminal used to be out in Moon, all the way to the airport Marriott, because that's where they were staying. And they walked there and called for a cab. I took them down to the Mellon Arena, and that night the Undertaker was fighting Big Mabel, for
Okay.
the King of the Ring crown. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty good.
That's
So
crazy, dude.
yeah, and I used to work at the airport Marriott. I was a bellman, and I had the privilege of taking up Batista and Rey Mysterio's luggage.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, and I got to see Ray without his mask, although I had already done that when I used to watch WCW when he was in the Filthy Animals. He
Uh-huh.
didn't, he took his mask off, so that was, but I got to actually see him, and I got to see Dom when he was little,
That's
not
awesome.
as big as he is now,
Yeah.
so and he actually said thank you to me for taking her luggage up. So, Smokin' Jimmy, have any questions for Jamie?
No, I'm just enjoying the conversation right now.
All right, Jamie, tell us some of the companies you work with right now, some of the independent companies you work with in town here in Western Pennsylvania.
I work at Pros of Wrestling. I work at FNW on Thursday. International Wrestling Cartel, 880, and 2PW.
Oh, tell MV Young I'm looking. He actually has said to I forget who it was. I think it was David Lawless or one of these wrestlers that I had on here that he wanted to be on the show. And every time I try to reach out to him, he don't return my phone calls or not. So
Well,
maybe
I'm
you could
kicking.
put a buck into him.
Yeah, I'm kicking his ass on Saturday. So I'll be sure to let him know in
Where you
ring.
going to be at Saturday?
Penn Brewery at 880. Me and
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
yeah.
880's up there. That's right. I forgot about that show.
Yep.
880 wrestling. If you live near the north side, you don't want to travel far. 880 wrestling at the Penn Brewery. Yeah, that's going to
Yep.
be interesting.
It's going to be our fourth encounter. Our first one he won, second
uh-huh.
one I won, and we just had a crazy first blood match a couple weeks back, and we both bled at the same time. So we're breaking the tiebreaker on this last one, last
Oh,
man
okay.
standing.
Well, there you go. Yeah. By the way, we have an early bird, and sometimes you know what they say: the early bird catches the worm. Daniel
Yeah.
Polinsky, who's our 5:30 guest, but Jamie knows Daniel, and Dan's on with us. How you doing, Dan?
Not bad, guys. How about yourself?
All right, we're talking a little bit of independent wrestling. I got Jamie as a guest on today,
Hey, Jamie.
and
How you doing, Dan?
Good.
all right, and we were talking about the events that happened on Saturday at the and then Jamie was telling me about the Saturday event he's going to be at for 880 Wrestling at the Penn Brewery. That's going to be an interesting lineup there. He's fighting MV Young, so we'll see. We'll see who wins that match. I hope you win, Jamie.
I got it in the bag.
Won't return my phone call. So
I'll let him know to hit you up.
all right, thank you. I appreciate that. Smokin' Jim, say hello to Dan.
Hey, we had a great time at your event. It was amazing. Some of the
Yes, it
wrestlers
was.
were just unbelievable.
Yes, it was.
It was just great night.
I appreciate that. It's kind of funny. We've been doing it a long time. And after that show, I had so many people come up to me and tell me that was the best show that we ever had. And
Wow.
I think we've had a lot of really good shows. I'm not going to say that in my mind that was my best one ever, but I don't know. Everything, all cylinders were hitting properly. And the fire department, after that was all over, they already told me that they're definitely going to do one or two more shows next year. And I had a couple other fire departments that were there that night that want to meet with me about doing shows at their departments now.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great thing going on, Dan. KWSA, they do a lot of that now. Allied Powers is getting into that, and now yourself, of course. It's a great fundraiser the days of the spaghetti dinners and the hoagie sales and the pierogi bashes or whatever, those days are pretty much over. Can't find
Right.
volunteers, to do them. So this is a great thing for any fire company.
Well, that fire department we were at, I just happened to I spent probably about 35 years in that fire department,
Wow.
and I was assistant fire chief at that particular firehouse for many years, and so those were friends, but you didn't want to you wanted to make sure they did well on the show also, so
Right.
it worked out okay, but there was a little added pressure for that show because again, these are people that are depending on you to come in there and do something good for them, and of course they want to make some money out of it, which is this is a big thing, and nobody wants to go out and sell a product to somebody and have it fall flat, and so that was the whole thing. But you have to just watch because it's like anything else. Wrestling. There's so much wrestling around now. It's such a
Yes.
copycat business that if it's like anything else, it's like these fire departments hold these gun bashes and they do
Yeah.
them as fundraisers. Well, hell, once the first fire department had a good gun bash, now everybody does a gun
Everybody's having
bash.
a gun bash. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and I fear that wrestling will be the same thing because if it gets to the point where there's a wrestling show any night of the week within 5 miles of every fire station around, they'll kill it, and
Yeah.
and it will no longer have its deal going on, and we're getting ready to. We just found out yesterday that we're going back to Greensburg Fire Department again. So,
Oh, okay.
so that's kind of like our niche, for me, especially because, I was a former state fire instructor. So I know so many of these people and I spent so many years in the fire truck business so that, it kind of gives me a little bit of an in because I know these guys and I like to think they must trust me, so,
Oh,
so
yeah.
hopefully it'll work
Yeah.
out well for us. Hopefully it'll stick around for a while.
Jamie, I wanted to ask you this question, and I ask this to every wrestler I have on here. What was your toughest match ever?
Toughest match.
Which one was the probably the toughest match you probably ever had?
Um,
And I ask this to every wrestler that I have on here.
I'd have to say there was a match that I had at 2PW against Elijah Dean,
Uh-huh.
and we dedicated that match to one of my friends who just passed away. Me and Elijah Dean, one of our best friends who passed away from high school. He passed away a couple weeks prior to the show, so we dedicated the match to him, and it was just incredibly emotional that night for me. So tough wise, emotionally, that had to been it for me.
Oh, okay, great. Jamie, you said you got into wrestling by watching SmackDown and you really got into it heavy duty. What was your step up? I mean, which company started you in independent wrestling? What was your first company?
So right out of high school, I moved to Louisville, Kentucky, and I
Hmm.
trained under Matt Capitelli and Rip Rogers at Ohio Valley Wrestling, and I had my first couple of shows there.
Oh, okay. All right. That's great.
It was
Smoking Jim, you
a
have any questions for Jamie?
No, I'm just enjoying the conversation. That's amazing, man.
All right.
But I do have one question. Jamie, did you I know you always wanted to be a professional wrestler and you're living your dreams. Did you play any other sports coming up?
I always was pushed to do football. I never really was into football, so I never really got into it. But in my junior year of high school, my I think he was the vice president at the time, uh, or principal. My bad. He pushed me so hard to get in there, and I did a couple weeks of training, and then that summer I broke my ankle during our time off, and I just never made it back after that. It was too late in high school. Junior year is too late to be getting into all that. But I think I could have been a serious football player now looking back.
All righty. Jamie, thanks for being part of the program. Appreciate you being on here. Promote your event that you're going to be at this week. You're going to be at the Penn Brewery, correct?
Yep, I got the FNW show on Thursday,
Thursday,
and
right,
at the Enclave uh
on the south side.
on South Side,
Right,
yeah, and then
right.
I have the Penn Brewery 880 show, Last Man Standing with MV Young. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that'll be a great match on Saturday. Unfortunately, I committed to KWSA's event over in Sheridan. So other than that, I probably would have been there for that. That would have been that's going to be a really interesting match.
I'm sure
So,
KSWA
oh yeah.
will have a great show too.
Oh, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, and Dan. You have anything you want to add? Say hello. Anything, Jamie?
No, I'm good. Jamie and I, we just started working together not too long ago, and it was kind of interesting. I'm really I probably shouldn't be quite like this. Maybe I should, but I'm really kind of picky about who we put on our shows, and I do a lot of listening to what other people tell me, and Jamie's name was coming up for me, and I had several people that recommended him to me, and my group, I do my best. I really kind of go for guys that look like wrestlers, bigger guys that have the look. And unfortunately, there's a lot of the really small guys, and some of them are very talented. But I always grew up, sitting in the front row with my grandfather at the wrestling shows, and these guys were like monsters. And I've always kind of gravitated to that. And I had seen Jamie at a show down in West Virginia. That I was down there with another one of the wrestlers, or actually it was Washington, PA, using my license, and I was down to the show watching them, and I saw Jamie, and I had again I had some people recommended that he maybe come to work for us, and he did a few shows for us now, several shows, and it all worked out. So hopefully we'll continue to use him, and I like to think I don't like to compare ourselves to all the other organizations out there, but I think we offer a pretty polished show, and you saw that, and we go more towards the traditional type of thing, and so hopefully he'll be a part of all that.
All right. Thank you, Jamie, once again for being part of the program. You have yourself a great one. Thank you for being here. We'll talk again sometime. And the word's out about this program, and it's out big time now. And I want it out amongst the independent circuit, and we're friends of the independent wrestlers. So I just want everyone to know that as well. Jamie, have a great one. Thank you once again for being part of the program. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ralph. Thank you, Jim,
All
and
right.
thank you, Dan. I'll see you guys down the line.
Sounds
All
good,
right.
man. Thanks.
All right.
Appreciate
Smoking
it.
Jim, Jamie's heading out. Say goodbye to Jamie.
All right, take care, champ.
All
See you
right.
guys. Peace.
Okay. That was Jamie Jameson, independent wrestler professional here in the Western Pennsylvania area. Dan, you put on one great show on Saturday. I enjoyed the heck out of it. It was great to finally get to see your son wrestle, Sam Adonis. It was just one great show. It was just super. I have no words. I mean, it was just a great show, and I had a great time. My wife was. This is her second show, and oh my gosh, she loved it.
Well, I could see. I was actually behind you people for a
Yeah.
while, and I was watching. I could see that you all were really getting into the show, which I enjoyed watching that. So my big thing is, I don't always get to watch the whole show, but any chance I get to, I watch. And I'm really not even so much just watching the wrestlers as much as I'm watching the crowd to see what kind of interaction they're having, and whether they're having a really good time or what's going on. And I could tell the three of you were enjoying yourself, which made me feel good.
Oh yeah. Oh, especially me. Ref, do your job.
Yeah, I could see
I
you
had
were
other
getting into
people
it.
saying that. I had
I
other
saw you,
people
you
saying.
were getting around quite a bit there,
Yeah.
talking to different people and holler. And again,
Yeah.
when I see people like yourself there, and and you're managing him, and what wrestling is about. You've been there, and the insides. But when you sit there and kind of escape from reality, like I would always do, and just kind of put yourself in the moment and can enjoy it like that as a fan, that makes a big difference.
Oh, it is. It's a huge difference. And I love these independent events, Dan. I've said this 1,000 times over. It is a great event because it's more personal. You
Right.
can really, it don't cost a lot of money. The interaction with the wrestlers is great. I mean, it's a super thing. And I enjoy every minute of it. And, I was at an event up here in Allentown with Enjoy. And then I was at Bubba's event in April. Smokin' Jim and I were there. Oh, we had a great time there as well. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, we're going to continue having them. We've got our schedule's already starting to fill out for next year. And, it just seems like you no sooner get done with one show and there's another one staring you right in the face. And, we're to the point where the night that we finish up a show, that very night, late at night, we start announcing the next show and getting the word out there. And it just seems like, the minute you think you're going to have a few minutes to kind of take a break, and next thing you know, you're out there getting posters ready and getting sponsors lined up and everything else. So it's sometimes it seems like it'd be like a full-time job if you do it right. And I can honestly say I pride myself on the fact that I really believe we do it right. We treat this like any other job, and we don't take shortcuts and things like that. And many times, we spend a lot of hours. I don't keep track of all of them. But I could tell you for a fact, there's not a day goes by, it seems that, we don't spend several hours working on wrestling shows.
oh my gosh, something. This is even, even when I was doing my TV show on PCTV, and I had it for 1 hour, and I do these shows here. You can ask my wife. I sit there and I write my notes out by hand on
Yeah.
index cards. So I don't, you know what I mean. I don't have the luxury. I have some issues with my arms because I have these pinched nerves in my neck,
Uh-huh.
and it's hard for me to type and do certain things long standing like that. So it's easier for me to write. So I write things out. I do old school writing them out on index cards and stuff. I spend hours putting
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
together just for a 1 hour show. I mean,
Absolutely. Well,
yeah.
The whole thing, with us, I mean, our wrestling business is a family business.
Right.
And I'm not sure who all you may have met or not met the other night, but my wife, she's heavily involved with me
Yes,
on
I
the
see
business
that.
side.
Yeah,
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 and my daughter, and she's there with us all the time, and her boyfriend. I mean, he's involved. So we have just people that work with us, and they're just so loyal. They come out and they help, and I can really depend on them every time we do a show. And it's an organization of probably about, I'm going to say 7 or 8 people that put these shows on. And it's really nice whenever, like with this Monroeville show, that's a purchase show, and which means that's a fundraiser for them. So they step right up because they want to be successful also. So it's almost like adding another full group of people to help these shows, get off the ground and go off well. And as you saw at Monroeville that night, you saw the volunteer fire people running around in those lime
yes,
green shirts, which
yeah.
they
They were
had
pushing
made.
me from my car, from my van. They pushed me
Yeah,
all the way into the facility. So I
yeah,
was,
that's what it takes. It takes a lot of people like that, and because there's so much going on at a wrestling show, you don't have enough set of eyes, and
yes,
people, will be pulling at me about a certain thing, and I'm fortunate enough to have people that I could kind of get a hold of one of our people and say, hey, could you go take care of this? I consider myself a very good delegator. Maybe somebody would say I'm lazy or something. I don't know, but I really am. I really am good at delegating things to people so that it's a team effort to get things done. There's no way that I could be a micromanager and do this all by myself. There's just too much to be involved.
oh yeah, absolutely. All right, don't forget October 26th, 2 shows going on. Lewistown, Pennsylvania, the haunting at the Coliseum. Some great matches for that as well. That's going on in Lewistown, and that is on Montgomery Avenue, the Lewistown Community Center. That event's going on, and then we have the KWS or KSWA event, which is going on. It's the Memorial Battle Royal, the Timmy Moore, this Saturday, 6 p.m. Start time, and or the doors open at 6, I believe. Bell time is at 7. It's at the Langley American Legion, Chartiers Avenue in Sheridan. I will be there. Smokin' Jim will be there. We'll be there for this event as well. And Dan, you have one coming up November 16th at the Tesla Center out there in Route 8 out there in Butler. And
That's
we're going
correct.
to be there for that as well.
Yeah, that's the Butler has become pretty much our home base, and so we really enjoy going back there. And tickets went on sale for that right away within the last couple days, and we've already had people buying front row seats and everything. So these seats tend to go pretty quickly. We've got a good following in Butler, and I'm confident that we'll have another good show there. That's a great place. I don't know, Ralph, if you were there before, were you not?
Yes, I have, believe it or not, DJ'd several weddings and parties at that
Okay,
hotel.
but
Days in. So I know
you were never
exactly
there
where.
for one of our shows, I don't think
No,
yet.
I
But
haven't been there for the shows. No.
yeah, you'll see that is a great venue for wrestling. It's extra nice. I mean, it's just beautiful
That
inside.
ballroom, that big ballroom was huge. I mean,
Yeah,
I did 200 people or more people in that big ballroom there that day when it was the
yeah.
Days In.
It's great. In fact, the last show we were there, the Days In people had to break out some of the old chairs because we had people coming in. We didn't have enough seats put out for them.
Wow.
And, so we pretty much packed that place. And that's just a really great place for wrestling. That's where when that used to be the Days In years ago up in Butler, that's really where we pretty much got our start. And,
Oh, okay.
that's
I
we used
thought
to
you
run
just started
regularly.
with Tesla. I thought when Tesla
Oh
started.
no, we were actually, the original, we were actually FNW Wrestling, and
Oh, okay.
we ran up there, and we were there for quite a few years, and then then we quit running for a while because the market seemed to be drying up. Just wasn't a whole lot going on. Wrestling was getting into one of its downturns, so to speak,
Yes.
and so we quit running there, and then it just seemed like over the last 5 years, I've had so many
It's
people say to
exploded.
me, "Yeah, when are you guys coming back to Butler? When are you coming back to Butler?" And we ran several shows there already, and every one of them has just been huge crowds, great shows, and people just you have a following there, and so we keep building that show, and we'll continue to build that, just like we have all along, and but that's coming up in November. And so that'll be another good one. We always try to bring in some new talent there, and we'll have some different people there from what we normally have. And we try to keep it interesting for the fans so that they're really never sure. They're more than likely they're always going to see somebody new there that they have never seen before. And that's kind of a bit of a challenge for us sometimes, but the way wrestling is anymore, there's so much wrestling out there. Sometimes it's just even difficult to get people booked because some of the promoters are getting them out there 4 or 5, 6 months in advance. And, you try to get certain people and even some of the local people, it's just really difficult because you're competing with so many different groups in
Oh,
Western
it's yeah,
Pennsylvania. It's
yeah.
crazy.
Bubba said when he got LA Power restarted, he said he didn't realize how well I mean, he realized it, but he didn't realize how much it stretched out. I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking Western Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Maryland, Ohio. We're
Yeah.
talking Kentucky. We're talking. When I used to have this show on Blog Talk Radio, I had a guy who I know that's a independent wrestler up in Detroit, and his name's Randy or Kevin. I'm sorry, Kevin's his name, and he was on our show. And I got to tell you, he told me it's real popular up there as well because again, it's not expensive, it's more interaction, and it's more it's a more intimate setting than going to a WWE event. Not having anything against their events or AEW or anything like that.
Right.
Plus, you don't have to take out a loan to go to one of those
No,
shows.
you're right.
And that's the good part.
Yeah, there's huge advantages, and the whole problem is, some people don't ever they don't either they don't know about the independent wrestling in their area, or sometimes people will, they'll ask you constantly, well, who's going to be on the show? And if it's not a name of a person that they know, many times they'll just kind of, walk away from it. But
Yeah.
once you get them in the door for that first time, you pretty much, they're pretty much bitten by the bug, and they'll come back, especially if they've got kids and things like that. But the toughest thing is, finding yourself a home where you know that you could run shows and you're not going to have, like when we did that Monroeville show the other night, there were
Right.
4 shows running in Western Pennsylvania that we know of. There may have been more, I don't know. But
Right.
it just gets to the point, there's so much going on out there that the best thing is if you could carve out your little niche, your little piece of the pie, and and stick with it and have a following, then you could be on your way to something good. But it's really difficult because you got there's some rogue groups that'll pop up that all of a sudden you'll see a new name of some group that you've never heard of, and they're popping up, within like 10 miles down the road or 5 miles down the road. And, everybody, it seems as though, and I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. It seems to me that, a lot of times, some of these groups are popping up are people who were wrestlers, and maybe they either had a falling out with the group they were wrestling with, or something wasn't working out for them.
Right.
So all of a sudden the thing to do is, well, I'm going to go out and start my own.
And I'm going to compete against them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It just, and it makes it really difficult. And even for that group, is the new startup group, it's not an easy thing, unless you have the money, to back yourself up. And, one of the things, I pride myself in, I've never, ever, ever sent a guy home after a show without a payday. And, from day one. And it's like any business, you have to have the financial ability to back things up so that you can keep help coming along and make these wrestlers want to come work for you, because you take care of them. You look out for them, and they know when they come to wrestle for you, they're going to go out of there and they're going to have, money in their pocket for their time and efforts. And so it's like anything else. I tell people all the time, it's like, it is a business. If you treat it like a business, and you should treat it like a business. And, I hear people sometimes, a lot of times wrestlers talk about the business, but in reality, unless you've really been in business or owned a business or, ran a business, wrestling should be treated the same as any other business out there. But unfortunately, you got people popping up. They just think it's easy, and, they're going to get their buddies to come in and wrestle for them. And, and then it's here today and gone tomorrow. And I think that kind of puts a damper on it for people, especially when they go to a show and they see a show that is really, really bad, and the talent shouldn't even be in a wrestling ring. And the guys do not look like the first thing like a wrestler. And, they go out of there thinking, well, that wasn't so great, So anyway, that's what we do.
Smokin' Jim, you have any questions for Dan? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, Dan, I tell you what, they say behind every successful man is a great woman. And I tell you what, man, you've been blessed with your wife. I tell you, as soon as I came in, she was able to direct me with a smile where to go. And I tell you what, it's the little things that I noticed about your show. That hallway was always clear. That was the first event I've ever been to where people wasn't standing around where they wasn't supposed to be. And you can tell you got a first-rate staff because you never noticed them, but you can tell everything was where it's supposed to be. The hallway was clear. I could see the bathroom. Every time I looked back, there was a clear shot there. Nobody was standing in the aisleways. And I tell you what, man, it was a you got a first-class organization for your staff. But one quick question. I was surprised how big you are. Was you a former football player or wrestler yourself, sir?
No, I wasn't. I actually, my career really was the fire department. And then, of course, I was in the fire truck business for many years. But, when I was young, I would have loved to have broken into wrestling. But, back then it was a closed shop. You really had to know somebody. You had to, have an angle to get in. And it was not so easy to get in back, when I would have been at my prime to learn how to do it. And, no, so that was it. I did play baseball through high school. So I was a catcher, and, so that was the sport that I chose. But no, nothing like that. And, but, my boys, it's kind of nice because both of them are relatively big guys, athletic. And, so they get to kind of carry the torch. They get to do the thing that I never really did do. But, I like to know that I could kind of help things along wherever I can,
All right. Anything else you want to ask Dan here, Smokin' Jim? Are you there?
No, no, sir.
Okay. I thought you were. I thought you disappeared with the bingo ladies there or whatever.
One of the things that one of the things that you had mentioned that I'd like to elaborate on, about keeping the hallway clear and all that. We're really funny about keeping the venue organized and things like that. And one of the things you'll never see at our show are the wrestlers hanging around in the audience or socializing with people or just standing there watching the show. Again, I'm old school like that. My feeling is, other than at intermission when they're going to come out and maybe sell their merchandise and things like that, the wrestlers are always told, they clear everything at usually around 6:15 if the doors are open at 6:30, and we really don't want them mingling with the fans because it takes a little bit of the excitement away when they come through that curtain. If they're expecting to see a certain person, it adds a certain element of excitement whenever their music hits and now they see them come through that curtain, and it's kind of electrifying for a lot of the fans. Whereas if these people were out there just kind of mingling around with everybody before the show, it really takes away a lot of the thunder. Now, I'm not saying that everybody does it the way we do it. That's just me personally. I've just always had issues with that. But we do. We try to keep everything nice and organized. You paid my wife a compliment, and I'm sure she appreciates that, because we communicate really well. And so when we knew that you all were coming to the show, I alerted her, and she was basically expecting you all. And so you get the greeting that you get. So again, communications is really, really, really a good thing. And I've got people too in our organization, doing bookings and things like that in the locker room, that I could be confident when I'm out running the front of the house, so to speak, making sure things are working well. I've got really good people in the locker room, wrestlers that are kind of, calling the shots and taking care of things, so that when the show unfolds, I'm confident that it's going to come out and everything's going to be perfect.
All right. Don't forget WrestleRex coming up this Friday at the City Winery. Dan's son, Sam Adonis, is fighting Magno. That ought to be an interesting match. And that's this Friday night, October the 18th. Excuse me. Doors open at 7. The match starts at 8. www.citywinery.com. Get a hold of them for tickets. It's going to be a great event this Friday night as well. And don't forget about the Nightmare at the Castle, the Allied Powers Wrestling Federation, October 26th in Johnstown at the Castle. Bubba Brewer and his group, www.apwewrestling.com. I'm sorry, because I got this one eye out, and I'm having this eye issue with my eyes, so that's why I was having a little trouble reading it. My wife is here to help me out. So, all right.
Well, that just so you know, that this is our first time in the City Winery, and this is going to be huge. So, we used to actually work over in the South Side at the Rex, which became the
Yeah, it's now
Enclave.
called the Enclave.
Yeah, so we pulled out of there.
Phone with them today. I just got
Yeah,
off the phone with them.
yeah, we pulled out of there, and now we're working over at the City Winery. And so, this is a good thing for y'all to come on over and take a look at this. It's going to be a huge step up from where we were at over in Southside. Nice venue, big operation. So come over there and enjoy yourselves, and you're going to see a great night of great wrestling with a lot of talent. So I definitely encourage you to come out and see us. I'll be out there. My family will be out there. Like you mentioned, Sam Adonis, you'll be seeing some action as well. So come on out and enjoy yourself. That's going to be a first time in there, and hopefully there'll be more after that. But definitely come over and check that out.
You guys are working with 880 Wrestling too, right? On this, is that a combined effort, or is that just you guys?
No. This WrestleRex. This was actually it's actually under the Pros of Wrestling umbrella. So that's where we work with them on that. That's kind of almost like a subsidiary, but actually it's not. I mean, we just pretty much are there with the license and doing whatever we can from the administrative point. But the people that operate WrestleRex, the people that came up with all that, they're going to be there to pretty much run the show like they always do. But it is a combined effort as far as promoting the show, things like that. So, and a lot of the people that are there are some of the people that we use, that sort of thing. So it's a combined effort. And again, our family is heavily involved in all that as well. So come out and see, and you're going to see, talk about a polished show with a lot of great things, lighting, music, you name it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to be a show that I don't care where you go, anywhere in Pittsburgh, you will not see a show like WrestleRex.
All righty. There you go. Wrestle Rex, Sam Adonis will be there. Dan's son. Smoking Jim, you have anything you want to add, final comments you want to add for Dan?
No, I tell you what, every time Dan talks, I take notes, brother. I got a whole page full already, man.
All
Well,
right.
I appreciate you guys having me on, and keep passing the word about us, and hopefully we'll get you guys to come out to some more of our events, and we'll see you guys up in Butler.
Oh yeah, I'll be there November 16th. Smoking Jim will be there with me. It's a Saturday. It's at the Tesla Center, formerly the Days Inn, right there on Route 8, right across from the Super 8, and across from the Cleveland Cliff Steel Mill. There used to be called AK Steel, I believe. It's now Cleveland Cliffs. All right, Dan. Thank you for being part of the program, and you have yourself a great night. And thank you again for Saturday as well.
I appreciate it. Hopefully, we'll see you all Friday night also down at the City Winery.
I will try to make that event, but we'll see, because I was going to try to make Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but we're going to see what happens here. I got this eye problem here, and I got to go get this straightened out before I can really kind of go out like that.
Understood.
So, all right. Have yourself a great night, Dan. Thank you.
You guys take care.
All right. That was Dan Polinsky, the owner and promoter for the Pros of Wrestling. Smoking Jim, your thoughts on this? And we're getting ready to wrap things up here shortly. Your final comments.
I tell you what, I can see why his shows run so well, because he just has that ability to communicate. Probably got it from being the chief of the firefighters and organizing and everything. You got to be very concise and precise with your communication. I tell you what, man, it's first-class run organization. His staff is unbelievable. His wife is unbelievable. His son is a great wrestler, and
took the time to take a picture with us and everything. It was great.
Yeah, and I think he's married to Ray Lynn, and she's a classy lady from Ambridge as well. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Don't forget this Saturday, and every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m., 12:50 a.m., 92.5 FM. The Answer. The return of the Sports Corner Radio Show. Better station, better management, better everything, and we're a better show because we have not only just Smokin' Jim Frazier, myself, but two great people to work that we all can work with, Claudia Rosano and Luther Dupree as well. And also don't forget, coming up November 9th, Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., 12:50 a.m., 92.5 FM. The Answer, the Ralph Williams Show, and I'm going to break barriers in this talk radio scene. It's time for a new voice. It's time for some new energy and new adrenaline, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. Smoking Jim, any final comments before you go?
No, man, another awesome show by the booking machine.
Oh, you know it. Also, don't forget to join Smoking Jim tonight, 7:00 p.m. If you live in Bethel Park, on Bethel Park TV, and also on YouTube and Facebook. The Pittsburgh Sports Line show with Smokin' Jim Frazier. Nick, they call him Harry Callis for some strange reason, I guess because his last name is Callis. And Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And is Chip on tonight?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Chip Hayner. Sometimes you get Mike. Is it Mike Rohde, right? Yeah, Mike Rohde.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I got the names. I just, sometimes I forget the names. But, yeah, so. But anyway, it'll be Chip Hayner tonight. Check that program out as well. And on Wednesday night at 7:00, I call it the Basement Broadcast, but it's called the Guns Sports Show with Guns, Jim Ellenbogen, Mike Rohde, Smokin' Jim Frazier, and Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And that's on YouTube and Facebook as well. All right, for Smokin' Jim Frazier, who's still at his bingo match here before he gets started with the show and all that stuff. Everyone have yourselves a great night. Thanks for being part of the program. And Christopher Cole here, Smokin' Jim, if you're still with us here, he says hello. He's part of the Christopher Cole is part of the sports web show with Peter Blake, the one I'm on Wednesdays at 10:30, the Turnbuckle Talk. He gets involved in that show.
Awesome.
So it's great to have Christopher here. But Christopher, unfortunately, we're getting ready to wrap things up here. So have yourself a great night. Thanks for watching. For Smokin' Jim Frazier, I'm Ralph Williams. Have yourself a good one and be safe.